We will get to all kinds of interesting items in a moment. But first of all, Rocking Black Adam, I think, is how you've introduced it.
Yes. So this is the latest DC Origins film. Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, who was... Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson was an exec on Shazam, in which the character of Black Adam was originally due to appear, and then they decided to make it a standalone movie. And I have to confess, I'm at the point when I've lost track, and I don't actually care that much.
Also, the title does sound like Blackadder.
Yes, I know. So, Simon Paul has already sung that.
He's sung that theme.
Anti-hero from ancient Middle Eastern city of Kandak, which in the modern day has become overrun by mercenary gangs. He's been stuck in a sacred mountain for ages, but is now unleashed. He is a force of destruction, so therefore draws the attention of the Justice Society of America, led by Pierce Brosnan's Dr. Fate, who can see the future. Aldous Hodge's Hawkman, who looks a bit like a hawk. Noah Centineo's Atom Smasher, who looks like a giant version of Deadpool. Greta Swindell's Cyclone. Also, Viola Davis reprising her role of Amanda Waller from the Suicide Squad films. Sarah Shai as Adriana Tomaz, who's a professor, resistance fighter, and people who are au fait with DC will know the character. And Armand, her son, whose rescue kind of drives the plot. Here's a clip.
Fate and I'll take the lead.
Listen, now you two hang back till we call you. Whether anvil you or the hammer, you're ready.
You just dropped the gun.
Be prepared.
All that Pierce Brosnan put on a helmet, and he disappeared.
I know.
How does that happen?
I know.
That's magic.
Okay, so this is directed by the same guy who directed The Shallows, which I liked, a bunch of Liam Neeson movies, which I wasn't so crazy about, and most recently Jungle Cruise, which of course starred Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, who, as you know, I'm a huge fan of. I think it's nice, and also generally a very sort of winning screen presence. But so I went in with this thinking, okay, fine, it's a reteaming of those two. And the last thing they did together, which was, as I said at the time, if you're going to have a movie based on essentially a ride, then this is the one to do it. I have now got to the point, however, when at the end of this, when there is a credit sequence and a character turns up from it might as well have been Ambush Bug, because I just don't care anymore. So I understand that part of this is that I think that I've lost patience. But on the plus side, it is very good that in the post Black Panther era, the general sort of whitewashing of superhero movies, I think that that period has now finished. Or at least it is in its last throes, and people are understanding that everything is changing too late, but it is changing, and that's a good thing. And there is a diverse cast in the case of this particular movie. The problem with it is just the central stuff about the explaining the plot and the stuff about the Eternium, and then the thing about he was a thing, and then he was buried in the what's it, and then he came out, and then it starts with kind of action sequences which are all crashy, smashy. This stop-go action thing. Action sequences have turned into like people voguing. You move and stop. You move and stop. You move. It's like a Madonna video. It's like a series of poses with a bit in the middle, and it's just become really tedious. I think there's one moment in it in which a character says, I'm going to say a word and then I must never say it again. And they say the word and then 10 minutes later they say it again. It's if you went to the loo before they said the word and did the thing that they must never say the word again. Shazam.
Oh, okay.
But then they must never say it again. And if you went for a pee, you could not only miss them saying, I must never say this again, but miss them saying it again so they came back, just be in exactly the same place that you were before. The score is thunderous. There's a bit when it's kind of quoting Paint It Black, which the Rolling Stones, which then gets turned up and just sounded awfully lame. It's very big. It's very noisy. No shot lasts more than, a quinti-second. Everything blows up all the time. And I understand, and I have always said this, there comes a point when you lose patience with something and you think, okay, I should probably retire. And I did think, watching Black Adam, maybe it's me, but this is just a bunch of stuff now, and I don't care about any of it.
When you mentioned Dwayne The Rock,
Who I really like.
you and I are probably the only people listening to this who instantly recall a very strange moment when he came on the show in a previous incarnation, and we were recording it at the BBC's Millbank studios, which is where all their Westminster staff are, who do all the daily politics.
I do remember this.
John Pienaar and Chris Mason and Norman Smith and all those guys, and they're there. And then The Rock, who is obviously enormous, walks through.
And also who exudes star quality.
Exactly, he does. And heads turned.
Everyone turned.
In a way that they think, hang on, we were expecting Jeffrey Howe, and who have we got? We've got this amazing Hollywood star. Anyway, despite all that,
despite all that, it's all the best stuff is The Rock doing a few quips, but if you look, for example, at the Jumanji reboots, they work because he's funny. If you look at Jungle Cruise, it works because you're funny. This is just, and I completely accept, incidentally, that this may simply be, and maybe particularly in the same week that I saw Banshees of Inisherin, maybe I am just aware of my own mortality and aware that my moment has passed. But I just watched Black Adam thinking, I don't care. It's just stuff.
Well, there's also so many of them. There's just so many superhero films that it's hard to sort of piece them all together.
I always used to bridle against that. Why shouldn't there be so many westerns, so many science fiction? I don't have a problem with superhero films. I have a problem with superhero films in which I don't give a monkey's about anything.
Correspondence at KermodeandMayo.com, particularly if you do give a monkey's.
Oh, wow, you've made it to the end.
So, as Cliff would have said, congratulations.
And now that you're here, let me tell you about all our other offerings.
We have other offerings?
We have other offerings. Reviews and big-name guests, such as
Tom Hanks.
Wow.
Alicia Vikander.
Wow.
Tom Hiddleston.
2 Toms.
If you are a subscriber, you get all the extra bonus features like One Frame Back, bonus reviews, that kind of thing.
And our new feature, Question Smestion. So if you want to keep up to date with all of this, here on YouTube, you can subscribe to the YouTube channel. Also go to kermodeandmayo.com for all the new stuff about the podcast.
Tap the link. Go on, tap the link. You know you want to.